And welcome back to In the Cage with Bards here on Nextsportstar.com. And joining us now, we have the MFC Lightweight Champion, one of the most exciting fighters in the sport today. He will be taking on Graham Spencer February 15th at MFC 36 Reality Check, happening, like I said, February 15th at the Shaw Conference Center in Edmonton, Alberta. So excited to have this guy back in the program. The African Assassin himself, Mukai Maromo, joins the program. How you doing, Mukai?
I'm good, guys. How you doing?
We're doing great, man, and it's a pleasure to have you back on the program. And, yeah, you're a little heavier than the last time we talked to you. You're dragging around about 10 pounds of gold.
Oh, yeah. But what actually happened is that fight, like, I'm not officially the champion because Adam Lynn didn't make weight, but I'm the unofficial MFC champion sure.
Yeah, I mean, Mukai, you are the champion. I mean, there's no way that you can't sell me on that idea. You've beaten Adam Lynn twice now, and Mark Pavlich himself changed the rules afterwards to make sure that a situation like that wouldn't happen again. But let's face facts here. You know, you are the champ.
I'm glad. I agree with you, man. Thanks a lot.
Well, what was going through your mind when you put Adam Lynn away, though? Because the last fight, went to a very controversial split decision, and just to be able to knock him out, what did that mean to you? To put an exclamation point on that.
It was that that was actually a very big motivating factor. That there was so much controversy surrounding the first fight. I wanted to put the exclamation mark on that, and I wanted to put that all that controversy away, and just kind of silence all the naysayers. So that was probably a bigger driving force than the title itself. Because I mean, titles come and go, but I don't want to have like people looking back and have that victory marred with, oh man, like that one fight could have gone either way. I wanted to put the stamp on that and have it like legitimately on the record books as a win, and I did a good job of doing that. So I was happy. You
absolutely did. Now you are one of the most talked about fighters in Canadian MMA right now. Is the extra tension, is that something that you're having a hard time dealing with, or you sound pretty relaxed right now? Is it just one day at a time for you?
It's one day at a time, one fight at a time. People talk and they talk about many different things, and after they're done talking about those things, they talk about other things. So I try not to let all the commotion get to me, and I try to stay focused on the goal at hand, right? Like I try to keep the eyes on the prize, because I mean, if I get caught up in all this talk and all this and that, I start to lose focus on the right things. My job primarily is a fighter, so I focus on the fighting.
Yeah, and that's where you are at your best. Fighting Graham Spencer again, is this something you've wanted for a while? Is there a sense that you really want to avenge this victory, or is this something that just kind of came up and you're ready for it? I always like to avenge every loss I have. So it happened.
By a stroke of luck that one came up, and I was glad to take it. But it was a little bit of both. It was something that I wanted to do, and then when the opportunity was ready to me, I was glad to take it.
Yes, so this is something that just kind of happened. Mark Pavlich kind of announced it on the spot at the MFC show. So obviously, you know Graham Spencer as a fighter. You've been in there with him before, but you've evolved in your game. I'm sure he has as well. How do you approach this fight? Did you look at him as just kind of a better version of what he was, or do you think he's reinvented himself? Are you looking for something completely different from him this time around?
I think it's going to be a lot of the same. For him, his basic game plan is going to be exactly the same as last time around. His biggest advantage is in the grappling realm. That's where his biggest skill set lies. Mm-hmm. I think his game plan is going to stay exactly the same. I don't see him trying to stand up and strike with me, because that'd be to his detriment. I'm definitely not going all the way out if he tries to do that.
No, I would not suggest that would be his best strategy going into this fight. But, Graham came in at 145. It was thought that, he was going to kind of be one of the building blocks for MFC building a 145 division. And now, it's your name opposite his for the lightweight title. Bottom line here, do you think in your mind that Graham Spencer is worthy of a lightweight title shot at this point in time?
I think he's a very sound opponent, and he hasn't lost a fight in a while, and he just beat a legitimate 155er in Shane Nelson out of BJ Penn camp. So I think you can make the argument that he definitely deserves it. as well as, you know, I mean, he's a very accomplished fighter, and I think he's going to be an asset, you know, in the 145 division for sure. But I mean, it's a title fight, and I think you know, he saw the opportunity and definitely took it, because, you know, he definitely had the choice to not take the fight, right? At the same time, I think he's at the point where he could, you know, viably fight for a 145 title in most of the entry-level organizations before you get to either Bellator or UFC. Being a 9-1 fighter who, you know, with an established record like he does, so I think he's definitely, you know, a game opponent for that title, and I think he definitely deserves it.
Well, from an entertainment perspective, it is going to be a great fight. There's no one questioning that. I want to read an interesting quote that I found on a Full Contact Fighter from Graham Spencer, and I want to get your reaction to this. To be honest, I really think they think, meaning the MFC, they think Mukai is going to beat me. I've got a win over him, and they just brought in Kurt Southern, who's got a win over him. So I think they're expecting him to beat me and then fight Southern to be able to redeem his other loss, but I've got other plans in mind. What's your reaction to that statement?
I'm not sure where he gets this day from. I think what happened here was, you know, Pavlik saw a golden opportunity to have me fight the last person I lost to. Mm-hmm. And he took it, you know, as opposed to, oh, let's give, you know, this guy a beatable opponent and he can beat this guy up. So when there's a day, I don't think there's a day to speak of, you know, and I don't fault him for feeling that way. Mm-hmm. Having said all that, I don't really feel two ways about that. You know, you can think that way, but come off February 15th, I'm going in there to knock some heads off the shoulders.
Absolutely. Well, what about Kurt Southern? Is he a guy that's on your radar? Would you like that to be avenged again, or is that something that is not in your frame of mind at this point in time?
Right now, there's a potential for that to happen, but, you know, he has a fight in the wall, and he would have to, you know, win a number of fights in succession before that even becomes a possibility. So it's not really something I'm looking for. But at the same time, if it does come onto the platter, you know, it's definitely something I would jump on. So, you know, given the opportunity, I think if it does come to fruition, I'll definitely take that opportunity as well.
Excellent. Well, we talked a little bit off at the top about the increased media attention, and you won a very prestigious Bozzy Award on Inside MMA, the Rising Star Award. How did it feel to get the nod from a guy who's got that incredible reputation of Boss Rutan?
I was nostalgic, you know. I couldn't believe that when it happened, when it was announced. I was taken aback. You know, speechless would probably be the best reaction at the time. It was a very pivotal moment in my career, I think.
Yeah, I was happy for you, man, because I'm one of the biggest Boss Rutan fans out there, and you know, for him to put that pedigree on you and acknowledge you like that, you know, that means big things in your future, my friend. And you're a lot like Boss, to be honest with you. You're a really dangerous striker, and you're a really charismatic guy too. So, you know, you're following the path.
Yeah. I think that has something to do with it too. You know, the charismatic aspect of it. I think it's definitely part of the game, and a lot of people need to work on that side of things.
Yeah, and you're in Montreal right now. You're saying you're getting some great training in up there. How is this really kind of putting another edge, I guess, on your training, going up against Graham Spencer, having that background coming in from Montreal? I mean, it's a house of killers there. It really is. So is that making you that much better? And how much of an evolution do you see coming in your game working with these guys on a day-in, day-out basis? Definitely the best place to be, you know, for anyone in the world who wants to fight MMA. You know, it's a premier gym. It's a world-class gym. You have world-class fighters at any and every time. So it's the best place for me right now. And you know, I think they focus a lot on everything, and they have a really, you know, well-developed, well-tuned ground aspect of, you know, of their training regimen. So I get to work a lot on the ground with a lot of really good guys. You know, plus there's a lot of good sparring with top-level guys, and you know, I get to work with a lot of high-level guys doing the pad work and the bag work and that sort of thing. So it's definitely the premier place to be, and I think it'll take my game to a new level. You know, and it definitely showed in that second Adam Lynn fight. In the first one, I was training by myself in Edmonton with a bunch of, you know, really lackluster, and then when I came to Montreal for that one, you know, you saw that it was totally different than the second fight. So it's definitely a good place for me, and I like it. Yeah, how confident are you feeling in your ground game right now? Because obviously we've said a couple of times now that standing and striking with you is probably the not the greatest idea in the world. But that's kind of the X factor in your game is what happens when it goes to the mat. When you're not able to separate someone's head from the shoulders, as you said earlier. So how confident are you feeling in your ground game right now?
I'm very confident in it. It's before when I fought Graham, it was virtually non-existent. And he still couldn't finish me then. So I'm very confident in it now. I've been adamant at improving it, and being a striker, I mostly work submission defense and standing up. But I do have a number of submissions in my repertoire that I'd be willing to give him a taste of too if I need to. Right. So I think I'm at a point where I'm comfortable. Whereas in our first fight, I was a Muay Thai guy who was uncomfortable on the ground. Mm-hmm. And so rather than opening up and letting my Muay Thai go, I was rather worried about getting taken down. So I usually closed up and anticipating the takedown and tried to stuff it and do whatever, as opposed to opening up my striking game and being offensive with it, right, and doing damage, getting taken down and standing back up and doing more damage. So my game's changed a lot. It's a lot more dynamic, and it's going to be an exciting fight.
Yeah, you continue to evolve each time out, and it's a pleasure to watch your career. You've done a lot of work here in Ontario, of course, with Iron Tiger Muay Thai, among other places. The word is out now that it appears that the Score Fighting Series is shutting down. What is your take on that, just as a fighter and, of course, as a guy with a lot of connections in the area? How does that make you feel that it looks like the Ontario-based fighters, have lost the best place to ply their trade?
It's very disappointing. It's hard enough in this MMA game to get fights and progress as a fighter as is. So to see that a very big organization in the country just got potential might be out of the game is a blow to everybody. It's just going to cause more strife and more problems for everybody. So I think it's a very bad thing, and I think I hope somebody can come up and take their place and be able to provide that for the out east fans, as opposed to having to wait for Battle till UFC to come to town. Mm-hmm. But I'm not happy about that at all.
No, I agree with you 1,000% there. It's not a good thing for Canadian MMA, but it's a great thing for Canadian MMA is the Afrikan Assassin. Whenever he fights, he is the one to watch on the card, and I look forward to you taking on Graham Spencer February 15th, MFC 36 Reality Check, the Shaw Conference Center in Edmonton, Alberta. Mukai, going to put you on the spot right now. How does this fight end?
The same as every other one. It's going to be a second round. Late in the second, early in the third, putting this guy away.
There you have it. Well, thanks again for joining the program. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. Tell the people where they can find you on the Twitter, on the Facebook, any other internet, social media things you have going on, and any other thank yous or shout outs you want to give. This is your time, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. Again, on my Twitter handle, at Afrikan Assassin, African with a K. Facebook, my Facebook page, the Afrikan Assassin. So if you just type in Afrikan Assassin with a K as well, my Facebook page will come up. Definitely, I'll follow that. Always putting updates on that. My website, MukaiMaromo.com. As for sponsors, there's a lot of guys who helped me and reach this far, and always happy to have them behind me. We've got Speed Soldier out in Ontario. They're amazing clothing company. They're doing my T-shirts for this fight. Crystal Glass out in Edmonton, biggest glass provider, amazing company, got West Edmonton Nights, we got Plush Ultra Lounge, Union Hall, St. Pete's Gentlemen's Club, where the Blue Gentlemen play, it's a very good place to be. A lot of guys, CPW Glass, Edmonton Rush, Western R&V. There's a lot of guys who came to boot to make this happen, Jobosity.com, and, big shout out to TriStar for having me down here and getting me ready for this fight, TriStar Dorms. Everybody, it's like one big happy family just hanging out here. The TriStar Gym, amazing training. It's going to be real good.
Yeah, TriStar, it's a house of killers, like I said, and what better place for a man known as the Assassin. Mukai Maromo here on In the Cage with Bards on Nextsportstar.com, and we'll be back with more MMA action right after this.
Bye,